Hey, Therapy Partners leaders. Okay, now it's time to wrap up Session 3, Followership is Leadership, Become a Self-Starter. This is the key point summary and time to take action. Just a quick overview with our Leadership Edge model. We've got a high-performance team at the center. We've got strengths, followership, and leadership feeding into the high-performance team, and actually strengths, followership, and leadership feeding into each other. And the two common threads, it's all about people growth and relationship building. All of us must be an effective follower before we can effectively lead people. And what do followers do? They respect the leaders, they're proactive, enthused, and engaged. So in this overview, we have 4 sections. 1, the self-starter, confident, enthused, and proactive. 2, the doer, enthused, but lacks self-confidence. 3, criticizer, the person who's confident, but negative and critical of the organization. And then 4, the disengaged employee who lacks confidence and is unenthused. And here's our model. There's 2 determinants on the vertical axis or y-axis, the passive thinker progressing up to the active thinker, or looking at it a different way, the passive contributor progressing upward to the active contributor. And then along the x-axis or the horizontal axis, the unenthused employee progressing to the enthused employee. And those 2 determinants create self-starters, doers, criticizers, and disengaged employees. The key points to the self-starter. So who are the self-starters? How do we describe them? They're driven to learn. They're positive. They have a lot of self-confidence, and they're also confident in the team. They're open to change, they seek opportunities, and they're respectful of leadership. So what does the self-starter need to grow? Well, they need significant challenges and learning opportunities. The manager needs to set clear expectations and give feedback and input to the self-starter. They need leeway to make decisions, and the self-starter needs recognition for making an effort, for taking a risk, regardless of whether that effort was successful or not. And if you're a self-starter, you should seek challenges and learning opportunities. Identify problems, look for opportunities, come up with and recommend innovative solutions. So if you're a self-starter, don't sit back and wait. And if you're the manager of self-starters, don't fail to provide them with significant challenges. Because we want self-starters to grow higher level enthusiasm and provide greater contributions. And we want to avoid the self-starter sliding backwards to become a criticizer. The key points of the doer. So who are the doers? Well, they're positive and engaged. They enjoy learning, and they're typically very responsible and dependable. However, they avoid risk. They don't want to fail because they lack self-confidence. And it's this lack of self-confidence that holds the doer back from becoming a self-starter. So what does the doer need? The manager needs to provide clear expectations and encouragement, and give the doer an opportunity to provide input and feedback to the manager and to the team. The doer needs challenges in which you know they will succeed. They need pats on the back, and they need efforts that will grow their self-confidence. And the doer should seek learning opportunities, reach out and seek challenges from the manager and other key leaders, identify opportunities and problems, and offer solutions. And in these ways, through the help of the manager and through personal accountability, the doer will grow self-confidence. Now, if you're a doer, don't feel that your ideas are insignificant, and don't ever doubt yourself. And if you're the manager of a doer, don't fail to offer challenges, and definitely don't fail to give positive feedback. Because we want doers to grow self-confidence and become self-starters. And we definitely want to avoid letting the doer lose enthusiasm, become less confident, and become disengaged. Now we'll move to the key points of the criticizer. So who are the criticizers? What do they look like? Well, they have strong feelings and ideas, but those ideas are not aligned with those of the leader. They oftentimes feel unappreciated. They're confident in themselves. However, they don't show confidence in the leadership of the organization or maybe even in their direct manager, and in some cases, they don't even have confidence in their teammates. They create a lot of negative energy, and this brings the team down. Not a good situation. So what does the criticizer need? Well, the manager must provide clear expectations and consequences for not meeting those expectations. The manager must also clarify the organization's mission, vision, goals, and strategy, and directly ask the criticizer, do you buy in to the direction we're going? The manager must provide the criticizer an opportunity for input and feedback, and the manager must observe the criticizer's behavior and track that closely, because the manager must hold the criticizer accountable. The criticizer must be respectful of leadership. They must be open to the expectations, direction, and strategy of the organization and do the best they can to embrace that direction and strategy. At the same time, the criticizer must really self-assess his or her beliefs and make sure that the direction the organization is going, the strategy of the organization, is well aligned with his or her beliefs. Because if not, the criticizer should really consider leaving. If you're a criticizer, you don't want to get defensive or close-minded. And if you're the manager of a criticizer, you cannot avoid the situation or fail to hold that person accountable. Because we expect the criticizer to ultimately get on the same page, become more enthused, and become a self-starter. And we must avoid letting the criticizer bring the rest of the team down, because that will happen if they're not held accountable. The key points of the disengaged employee. So who are the disengaged employees? What do they look like? Well, they're unreliable and undependable. They do the minimal requirements. They're typically apathetic, self-centered, and they lack confidence. The disengaged employee needs clarification of expectations and a description of what the consequences are if those expectations are not met. The manager must clarify the vision, mission, goals, and strategy of the organization. The manager and the disengaged employee together need to create an action plan. The manager must observe the behavior of the disengaged employee, and the manager must hold this person accountable. The disengaged employee must be respectful of leadership, be open to the expectations, direction, and strategy of the organization, embrace that direction and strategy. The disengaged employee must look at himself or herself and self-assess how they're behaving. And much like the criticizer, if they can't get aligned with the direction that the organization is going, they should consider leaving. If you are the disengaged employee, don't continue to shirk your responsibilities. And if you're the manager of that person, don't let the disengaged employee get by with that behavior. Because we want the disengaged employee to either perform as expected, become a doer, and ultimately a self-starter, or leave. And we must avoid letting this disengaged employee reduce productivity and frustrate the rest of the team. So in summary, self-starters are positive, enthused, engaged, proactive, and self-confident. You must strive to be a self-starter. Managers must work to create a team of self-starters. Okay, let's take action. Here's my recommendations. At an upcoming staff meeting, encourage your manager to lead a discussion around how the practice's leaders, the manager, the owners of the practice, the other leaders within the practice, how they can support the development of self-starters. What's missing? What can be added? Secondly, do some self-reflecting. Sit down and think about your own personal behavior and thinking style. How can you grow to be a self-starter? And then thirdly, Therapy Partners has created a PT Manager application, and in that application, there is a followership assessment. Your manager should do that assessment of each team member, and you should perform a self-assessment. All right, so that wraps up Session 3, followership. Session 4 is coming up next week, and the topic of the week is leadership. Big L leaders, small L leaders, leader managers, they're all important. Hey, we'll see you next week.